Hello, and welcome to The Analyst. I'm your host, Emma Schatochin.
And I'm your co-host, Michael Czulo.
On January 25th, just days after 90 journalists were laid off at Post Media, TVO Steve Paikin invited 3 industry experts on his show, The Agenda, to discuss the decline of print media and the necessary steps to transition into the digital era.
Matt Gurney, a senior columnist and editor with the National Post, was asked about the Post's new identity following the merger. Keeping in mind, Gurney has to be biased based on fear of losing his job. In fact, Gurney mentioned that his appearance on the show came with the sacrifice of sleep. The tired and struggling Matt had this to say: "We think of ourselves as news organizations. Newsprint is a medium. It is not the totality of our identity. It is a proportionate part of our identity. It is still where most of the revenue comes from." Now, Matt is correct when he says that most of Post Media's revenues come from print, especially when you compare it to the revenues of digital. What he fails to do, or rather chooses to leave out, is the comparison to their snowballing astronomical amount of debt.
To get a better understanding of the Post financial situation, we discovered a well-crafted column written by David Olive, a business reporter for the Toronto Star. He writes, "The Post advertising revenues have dropped steadily since 2009, and total revenue fell almost 19% in the firm's past 3 fiscal years. The company has posted a total of $307 million losses on continuing operations over that period. At the present, Post Media is encumbered with $500 million in debt, with total assets of $740 million against liabilities of $730 million. At the end of its last fiscal year, Post Media's liquidation value was only $11 million. That's the value of a handful of McDonald's franchises."
So, how much longer can the US-based hedge funds sustain these financial hits until the Post, or rather, the Godfrey, admits that print is their most recent source of failure? David Olive believes Post Media's obligatory debt payments will more than triple by 2018, going from $108 million to $360 million. This is a company with rising costs that are to be financed from declining revenues, a business model that would only impress someone who believes elephants can fly.
Sachi Cole, a senior writer for BuzzFeed, believes the people to blame for this are not only the industry. She says, "I'm going to choose Paul Godfrey to demonize because that's who I think you should blame for this. I don't think that's what's happening at the Post is entirely indicative of the entire industry." And she's right. If there were multiple Paul Godfreys out there, how come we don't know about them? It's simple, there aren't. Sachi agrees, saying, "Newspapers are not going to work much longer. We're seeing that they don't work now, and that's because they don't adapt. It's just the nature of that particular medium." Furthermore, Sachi explains, it doesn't mean that the content can't live on the internet where it would adapt, it would change and develop. But having any romantic feelings about the paper I don't think will get you anything, and I don't think it benefits anyone.
Personally, neither Emma nor I have fallen in love with a piece of parchment, but maybe that's just us. As for the love being given by a dying breed to a dying medium, we just don't get it. To this, Kelly Tohill, a professor of journalism at the University of King's College, responded, "I don't really think that's fair. Almost no industry has been able to adapt to a paradigm shift in technology."
Kelly believes that the shift from newspaper to digital media is not sustainable because there is no money in it further down the road. Furthermore, she suggests that online journalism is going to fail because ads online are not enough to sustain revenue. Paywall subscriptions are needed in addition to ads in order for digital media to thrive as a profitable industry. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I agree. Sorry, Sachi, but Kelly is making a good point. If you look at BuzzFeed, yes, they have ads, but they don't have paid subscribers, which I believe accounts for a big part of why they have such a large fan base. The real question is, if you hypothetically put a paywall on BuzzFeed, how many of those visitors would comply? How many of those visitors would want to stick around? So, how does Sachi respond to this logic?
Well, she doesn't really, but rather she thinks she has a solution, stating, "My solution would be to build a website. It would be a web-first product." Michael, your thoughts?
Well, Sachi chose to evade the question at hand, which is how do you make the website profitable? And obviously, if you're building a website, it's going to be a web-first medium. We're talking about sustaining profitability.
Precisely. There are millions upon millions of bloggers. Anyone can go online, even Paul Godfrey. Buying a domain and buying a website is easy, but it's not profitable. It comes down to turning that hobby into a career. So if you're going to take anything away from this cast, let it be that business trumps creative and that journalistic integrity must come forth, or else it's all about the money. Thanks for watching.